And now to police body cameras. We've talked a lot about them here, and I have to say I was under the impression that the city of Portland and the Justice Department did not want the cops to be able to view their video under any circumstances until they had written their reports. But now that we have the actual documents from the city showing their final offer, I see that's not the case. The city and the Justice Department only want officers blocked from viewing their body cam video after they've used deadly force, like after they shot someone. And they might still be able to watch that if the chief gives the okay. But the union continues to fight to view the video without prior approval, even after deadly force. It's an issue that has avoided agreement for years, and it has many of you frustrated.
I'm calling about the body cams in Portland for the police. The word embarrassing, the word ridiculous seems to come to mind quickly for me. It's a larger city, and we're the only one that doesn't have this in the country. Why can't we just look at what they do, pick out a very successful process that they use, and copy it? It's not difficult to figure that out. So let's get busy and get this taken care of. We need body cameras on the police in Portland, Oregon.
Some pretty good wisdom there, Penny. Thank you. Penny shared a sentiment that many of you agree with. What is the holdup? The process has been dragging on now for more than 8 years, leaving Portland as the largest city in the country whose city police do not use the technology. Just this week, the city and the Portland Police Association announced an impasse on body cameras, basically throwing up their hands. They can't come to an agreement, and they want a state arbitrator to decide, causing potentially month-long delays. Now, let's take a look at the city's final offer that was released today. On the first page, we're focused on the first few lines. Members or officers can watch their body cam footage for an investigation or ahead of a court testimony, but there are a few exceptions that we'll get into in a moment. First, we'll look at non-force incidents. In any non-force incident, a traffic stop, for example, officers can watch their body cam footage before writing their report. The force incidents section is the rub for the police union. In instances of non-deadly force, an officer will first give their account of what happened to a supervisor, and the question for that interview are listed here below. After that interview, the officer would be able to watch their body cam footage to complete their force report. And when it comes to the use of deadly force or an in-custody death, officers would not be able to access any of the footage unless authorized by the chief. And that's the part right there that the Portland Police Association, the union, has a problem with. The president of the union is Sergeant Aaron Schmautz. He says they want officers to be able to review video before writing a report or being interviewed by a supervisor after all incidents, deadly or not.
You know, if you take somebody who's been involved in a critical incident, who's been involved in this very stressful kind of high temperature deal, and then immediately ask them to just kind of spit out what happened without collecting all evidence, you run into significant issues, including questions about that person being accurate or honest, when in reality, they just haven't been able to either calm down or collect all the evidence and understand all the different variables that exist. We just want to get it right. We want to make sure our officers know what questions they need to answer, that they're able to take all the available evidence and provide a comprehensive kind of package of information and give that to the public, so we have just one good, clean explanation of what happened. The issue of review itself is kind of a newer issue as far as the concern, because the policies surrounding review are kind of settled around the country. I mean, every agency in Oregon that has body-worn cameras allows for a policy commensurate with what the PPA's position is. The vast majority of police agencies around the country.
Well, not quite. Let's start with his claim that every agency in Oregon is doing basically the same thing that the union wants. Without doing any research, we can tell you that's false, based solely on our interview with Salem Police Chief Trevor Womack yesterday.
The only time that they're not going to be able to review that necessarily is for the big serious critical incidents, right? An officer involved shooting, for example, a fatal use of force. We don't investigate ourselves, of course. We have a process here where an outside agency conducts that investigation. They would be in charge of that investigative process, and our district attorney as well. And their position is that officers would not view that video before that interview occurs, for example.
Now, to be fair, Salem launched their body cam program this week, so perhaps the PPA is not aware of their policies yet. But for deadly use of force incidents in Salem, those officers are not getting to look at the video ahead of any interviews or reports. Now, the union leader is correct that Gresham and Eugene police do allow officers to watch their footage even after deadly use of force incidents before being interviewed. And we have not yet heard back from state police on their body cam policy. The city of Vancouver kicks off their body cam program on Monday, and the chief there told us their officers also will be allowed to view the video no matter what the incident. We also checked in with a few police departments in cities around the country that are similar in size to Portland. In Las Vegas, officers can watch their footage before writing a report for any kind of incident. In Boston, it's somewhat of a mix. When there's a deadly use of force, officers there, the body cam footage is immediately taken back to the station and uploaded, and supervisors can decide if or when the officers get to see it before they give a statement. But in Nashville, their Metropolitan Police Force operates under very similar rules to what the city of Portland is proposing. Their officers can watch their body cam footage before writing a report for any incident except use of force that causes serious bodily injury or death. In that case, the chief of police has to give permission for the officer to view it, the same as the proposed policy right here in Portland, Oregon. So here's my opinion on all this. I'm in the camp that says the sooner we get these body cams on Portland police officers, the better for everyone. Ahead of today's development, I think a lot of us blamed the city for the holdup, thinking to ourselves, come on, man, the city's got to get its act together, get this thing done. And in this years-long saga to get body cams on Portland streets, believe me, the city is not without blame. But in this case, when you're so close to finally getting it done, this time it is the police union causing the delay. In my opinion, the city's offer on body cams is very reasonable. Non-use of force incidents, videos available to you. Non-lethal use of force, give an interview to the supervisor about what happened, then go watch the video and finish the report. That feels fair. And deadly use of force incidents, no video unless the chief says otherwise. You give your side of things, and investigators who will watch the video can determine if the deadly use of force was justified. Look, people's lives are involved here. And I know on both sides, this is important to everyone. Everyone wants to make sure things are done right and justice is served. And in my opinion, I'll say it again, the policy proposed by the city is fair. It's being done just like that in places that include Salem and Nashville already. So let's get it done here. Now, I realize my opinion on this isn't likely to change anything. What we know is that an arbitrator is going to come in and decide what Portland's policy will look like, and that could take months. Even then, the Justice Department can overrule the arbitrator, which would likely lead to lawsuits and more delays in court, and it will just go on and on and on. So for now, Portland will remain the largest city in the country whose city police force does not have body cams. And as we have for the past 8 years, we wait. I think that's ridiculous. Look, if there's officers out there that are watching this and you agree with me, you should go to your union leadership now and make your feelings known. It's time to get those cameras in the field.